Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another one of our podcasts, Unleashed. In Purpose, we find power. I am your co-host, Kimberly Anderson, along with my other co-host.
And I am your co-host, Cara Maldonado.
And we are here celebrating the radiant anthology, Goddesses Among Us. We are diving deep into the heart of this transformative book series. And I am excited because today we're actually going to be talking about you, my beautiful co-host, Cara. And your chapter, what we're going to talk about today is the rising phoenix, from abuse and narcissistic change to entrepreneurial triumph. And it really has been a journey for you.
It absolutely has.
So let's just kind of start talking about what it is about your journey and you being a part of this platform and where you were to here you are.
Yes. I think when I first spoke to you, when you reached out to me, and I was on my healing journey then, as I thought I was almost done. But the reality is, you're never done healing. You just keep getting better and better when you accept it. I was at a point where I knew that part of me really getting over that hill was to use my voice. And I still felt stuck. Although I was no longer in the situation, I was no longer in the home or having to deal with that kind of toxicity, I knew that I had not completely just let it all out. This platform was the opportunity that I didn't know was an opportunity. I didn't know how it was going to change me. I just knew that our conversation meant so much, and the minutes that we were on the phone and never had met each other, but just talked, that I needed to invest in taking that next step. And it was important because I kept getting, all these years, flashbacks of being 5 years old. Being 5 years old when I can really connect when the abuse started. No 5-year-old should be responsible for the care of a newborn and a 3-year-old. I didn't know that then, but I started to learn that, I think in my feast, because you were programmed to do things that appear to be normal. And if you speak up or if you push back in any way, then you're talked to very, very badly. You're yelled and screamed at. You're physically abused, emotionally, everything, it went to being locked up in this room with these children. And I couldn't ask for help. I couldn't say, I'm scared, I don't know what to do. He's ran out of milk, or there's no more diapers. I had to figure it out. So I learned very, very early in my life that I had to figure things out. I had to be resourceful. And I also had to stand up to, if the choice I made at 5 years old wasn't the right choice, I was going to be punished. And I had to be prepared for that. So that's how it started. And a lot of that was from addiction, from drug abuse. And I didn't know it then. Again, I figured a lot of things out very late in age because, for one, what goes on in the house stays in the house. You don't talk about it. So I never had anything to compare it with. I thought it was normal. And that's what's supposed to happen. So I grew up feeling responsible for my siblings, well into becoming a mother myself, a wife, and having to feel like if I did one for a brother, and if I couldn't do for my child, I felt stuck. I grew up feeling stuck and afraid and, like I'm letting someone down. And that's the psychological abuse that I now know that was embedded in me from very, very early on. But what that did was that narcissistic, abusive behavior made me feel like that's what love was. So I married it, because I never could heal. I didn't know I needed healing. So I was attracted to that same kind of abusive behavior. And I get in a relationship with someone who's also an addict, and the way they treat you, coming up, coming down, all the things, was feeling kind of normal to me because I've been treated this way since birth. So I don't know any different. But what that does to you, that makes you doubt yourself in every single possible way, because all you become is what these individuals label you as, how they physically treat you, how they emotionally treat you, how they represent your relationship with them to the world. Because you're running around feeling like you've got to do so much to be accepted, to please, to not get hurt today. And that's really important, to not be hurt physically and to not be made felt less than, which is pretty much the way a narcissist will do to you to keep you from, one, not fighting back or standing up for yourself, but or to sharing it with anyone else, because they isolate you. And my isolation was taking care of, 6 brothers and sisters in every capacity. It was so bad. I'm in high school and I used to get bullied. The old lady in the shoe had so many kids, didn't know what to do because I drove them around with me everywhere. That was my responsibility. But it was, me needing to heal and learn that that wasn't right and that wasn't my responsibility, and to get out of an abusive marriage because I'm better than that. And it's so funny because no one outside the home saw that. You see me at work and I'm a badass. I'm in the boardroom, I'm negotiating contracts, I'm selling, I'm doing all the things that I'm supposed to do. No one would realize or even expect that the minute I went home, I was a different person. I was sad. When it was one extreme from the other. Either I'm really sad and emotional, and then it's like she's the mean one, or I'm putting a front on if other family members or friends were around and acting like everything is great, because you don't want anyone to know what it is you're going through. Yeah.
I think it's really interesting, though. I just wanted to stop you for a minute and kind of reflect back. You were having to be an adult at 5 years old, and you had consequences of having to act as an adult at 5 years old. And then you made the comment of always feeling stuck. And really, that's carried with you into adulthood, long into adulthood, feeling stuck because of all of that stuff that was really stuck in you and not
Yeah.
allowed to even, you weren't even allowed to be a child at 5. That's a baby.
Yeah.
And part of being able to share your story, it's helping you unstuck all that stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I learned, at some point as I was going through my healing journey, that my drug of choice became perfectionist. I was so afraid of not pleasing and not doing something wrong or doing something wrong. And I just wanted to be accepted so that you would be nice to me. I'm a good girl. I'm not cutting school. I'm getting A's. I'm on honor roll. I'm doing all the things. I have a job. I started like a babysitting business at 12. And, so I'm out here doing all the things to make you proud of me. And I was so meticulous about everything, like OCD off the chart. And I still am to a degree, but now I recognize it, where before I didn't. And it got on everyone's nerves, right? Everyone's nerves. But that was my way of coping, and I had to realize that was my way of coping. But what it does to you is eventually stress and fear and pain and silence turns into something much bigger than you just feeling bad about yourself. It turns into diseases.
It sure does.
And after the loss of my sister, my aunt, my mom, my grandmother, all like within 3 years, I still didn't have time to grieve. I couldn't deal with it because I had to be in charge of the family now, and I had to take care of things and keep going, working and all that to keep going. And then probably 2 years or 3 years after all of that happened, it hit me. I broke down. My body just collapsed. And, the universe said, you know what? All of this, if you don't sit down right now and take care of yourself, you're not getting back up ever again. And that was my story. I immediately went through treatments. I had to just really rethink my life. What was I going to do? I had been in corporate since I was probably 16, and working, never stopped working. And I had to think about, what am I going to, if God let me live, what was going to be my new story? I had my first grandson coming. I already had my two granddaughters, and I had to say, I want to live for them, but I don't want to just exist anymore.
Right.
I want to do something for me. I need to choose me. I need to be better this time around if I get that opportunity. And that was when my healing journey came. Everything from now I need the therapy, I need to be coached, I needed spiritual coaching, and just everything, no meds, everything to just cleanse me of all the bad things that I thought was just normal. And it's like rewiring your brain because someone said something about Stockholm syndrome one time, and it's as funny as that seems to say that out loud, that is a reality, because you truly get programmed into this kind of behavior being normal.
You sure do.
And you really have to go back and realize, I was good enough to get and educate myself and do well at school and do well on my jobs, but I couldn't transfer that same confidence and that same degree, of thriving to make it happen. And I couldn't translate that into my day-to-day life behind the doors, behind the scenes. And I needed to know why, to the point that it took me out, and I was bedridden for 18 months. I was just that sick. And once I started the journey and realizing that my part in it, because at some point when you start accepting it and allowing it and making excuses for it, you have to find out the why behind that and deal with it. And I think that how I needed to complete all of what was uncovering and how I started to love myself for the first time was me opening up and having this very same conversation with you. Oh my goodness, what, almost 5 years ago now? At least a good 4.5 years ago, having this conversation with you about my story. And it was so hard, and I remember being so nervous and asking my kids and talking to them, and them saying to me, if it's going to heal you, if it's going to help you, you got to do it. You have to do it, because I was holding on to so much, and I realized that I needed to. That was the final piece to the puzzle. I confronted people. They said I was crazy. So that doesn't work. That doesn't always work, having to confront people. It was crazy. It never happened. Okay, I know it happened because I have all these journals that I've been journaling since I'm like 10 that say it happened. And I know in my head it happened, in my heart it happened. But this was a way of really making it real and making it live. I said it. It's on a video somewhere because we record them, and it's in a book. Yes, Goddess is Among Us, book 2. It's in that book, my story and it was the best thing ever. It was the best thing ever. And on a very personal level of me going, I did it. It's here. And yeah. And I started to be able to work through everything. But I go back to something I said in episode 2 was the validation, is the validation that it gave me, because I have been helping people for years, and in corporate, personally, in my, entrepreneurial way of life, because I decided not to go back to corporate. I'm going to do my own thing and go the holistic route. And that's what I did. But it was always something missing, even as I'm giving advice, as I'm coaching, as I'm going through therapies with individuals. People felt something was missing. I knew something was missing, and it was my story, my truth, my voice. Because why are you so passionate about helping people? That makes no sense, because I always looked together to everyone. Like nothing was happening. And no one could believe that it was possible until I opened my voice and said what was going on. And then it all started to make sense. It started to make sense even to child friends. They were like, oh my goodness, now I get it.
It's incredible to rehear you talk about your story and the pain that you suffered emotionally, mentally, physically. And even when you said, what am I going to do if I survive this? Like, you're having real, honest conversations with yourself that are scary.
Yeah.
And with your family, with your children, and pushing through all of that. It's incredible to listen to you even today, kind of recanting our conversation. You're a totally different woman than you were when we had that initial conversation. I'm just sitting here kind of in awe listening to you. It's night and day. You were incredible and powerful and just this amazing woman that I met all those years ago. But to really hear you today, wow, I didn't realize until just now having this conversation with you the difference. Like I feel it on a very deep soul level.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm so proud of you. I just want to put that out there. I'm so proud of you and
Thank you.
what you've overcome. And I don't ever, I say overcome, but I say that lightly because we're always overcoming it. Like you said
Yes.
earlier, we're still healing. It's those layers that are always peeling back. You're like, "Ooh, I'm healed. Yay." And then all of a sudden it hits you and you're like, "Oh my God, what
Right.
how am I going to get through this?" And so there's reminders always that we're healing through it still,
Yes.
but you've had an incredible journey. Your life is amazing. You have stories that could be movies in the future. We don't know. But you are an incredible woman. And I am really honored that you were on this platform to share it. I'm honored again that you're sharing your story right now. To know that you, at 5 years old, went through what you went through, to being bullied as a teenager in high school because you're still old Mother Hubbard, and taking that and carrying it through an adult, being an adult. I don't think people realize how all of those things, leaving scars, having impact on you, you take that with you every day and in everywhere you go. And
Yes.
so I would just say to those of you listening to this, take that chance, have that conversation with us and see if it makes sense for you to come on the platform now, because your story, Cara, is incredible. And just to see how strong you are today and powerful you are today. When I thought you were that way when I met you, it's incredible to
Yeah.
see even your transformation. It really is.
And I really appreciate that because I reread my chapter over this weekend and it took that long to be able to do it because I still didn't know if I was strong enough. Again, from when I first wrote it, when we had our conversation, I was proud when I read it. There was I didn't have the reaction I thought I was gonna be. There was no fear. There was no fear. In fact, I said, God, I should have said more. There's so much more. There's so much more. I was being nice. There's so much more. Like you said, there's a whole Netflix series going on in my life here. So
I
there's
think
so
all of
much
us,
more.
right?
Yes. So ladies, whoever decides that this is something for them and you reach out to us and have that discovery call, don't hold back. Don't hold back. Tell us everything. Share, 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 because everyone has a story. Everyone's story is different, and there's no small story, and someone needs to hear it on every level. Someone needs to hear it. I didn't know how important my story was going to be and how many different people come up to me still to this day that I didn't even know knew me and
Yeah,
said that they saw one of our videos from 4 years ago and it's made a difference. So yes, it will definitely, and it's done wonders in my business. Like I said, it's really validated how I can give advice to someone because I've been there. I lived
absolutely.
it.
And that's what I've always said. The experiences that we've lived, it not only helps us heal on a deeper level, but it allows us to help others on a deeper level because we can say, I've been there, I've done that, I know what you're going through, I understand.
Yes,
And that takes it to a whole new level.
it absolutely does.
Well, my friend, thank you for sharing your story once again on our podcast, Unleash, because in purpose, we do find power. And I'm excited for our next episode.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.